I think you need to catch up.
I do need to catch up. I'll be sick tomorrow,
Good
but I
time.
need
Nah, come on. I can't tell you that I would do anything different. I'm such a fan of Pete Johnson. I thank him all the time for letting me be Pete from Tatuaje.
We're here with Pete Hernandez, cigar impresario.
Oh, come on. There you go.
So, I mean, part of the reason why I wanted to do this was because a lot of people have been asking me to do it. We did a couple of videos like Cigar Obsession, and everyone loved that. Shout out to Brian Glenn. We did the Bovida podcast. Shout out to Rob. We had such a great time with that. And everyone said more content, more content. But I definitely didn't want to get into a review situation. I think there are guys like who I just mentioned and Delicia from Cigar Vixen that have that down, and I'm not looking to get into that area of things. What I do want is more knowledge, and I think you guys do too, and I think that's part of what you appreciate about the liner notes that come with the cigars, that we all learn a lot from those. And I want people on the show like Pete. Pete is a sales rep. He's got the Florida territory. You've been with multiple companies. Can you rattle off some of the names of the companies?
Sure. Well, more importantly, this was started by my brother. My brother was one of the first brokers in the industry, or independent reps. We're independent reps, and he was the first rep for Miami Cigar, for Drew Estates, for Rocky Patel, for Toraños, first rep for Zycar in the state of Florida.
Wow.
So, all of this stemmed from him. You know? I was very fortunate. I shouldn't say it that way. My brother was kind of one of the first guys. Visited all the stores, and unfortunately, in 2009, my brother passed away.
Oh,
and I just kind of felt that this is what he left me. It was amazing to go to the stores and feel what people felt for him. And actually, we're coming up. This is the 10th year, the anniversary of his death. I know you didn't know that. We hadn't spoken about that.
Yeah.
So I was first rep for Camacho. So a lot of brands, and first rep for Tatuaje.
And before we keep going, I feel empty without a cigar in my hand.
Oh man, let's do it.
And you wouldn't let me smoke what I had laid out for you. Which Pete is the guy who, and I have to be 100% real and transparent. And I'm sure there's no hard feelings or anything. But Pete is the guy who got us for the club in the November box. Most of you got the Crown Heads, 4 Kicks, Lancero Maduro 2018 limited edition, and that was another situation where I called the company. They didn't know about us so much. They didn't get what we were doing. I called Pete. This Pete, he understood it right off the bat, got it, and said, "Hey man, listen, let me talk to John." And before I knew it, John Huber and Pete, came back to me with an offer, and that was it. And a lot of you guys fell in love with that cigar.
Great smoke.
It is
great smoke, rich and deep.
Oh yeah, very raisiny and
yes, good cigar.
But what did you bring today?
Well, this is it's not my newest addition to the portfolio, but definitely something I'm truly proud of. I was called by one of my counterparts in Chicago, and he said to me, "Listen, I want you to meet with this guy, and I want you to carry the brand."
Okay.
And I, listen, I'm very. For me to carry a brand, I want you to be vertically integrated. You've got to control tobacco, even in your own way. I'm very proud to work with the guys that I work with, and I make sure that.
So for some people at home, vertically integrated, what that means is that you're controlling your company from the ground up, meaning you own the soil, you own the plants, or at least are down in Nicaragua or the Dominican Republic or Honduras, and you're involved in the whole experience from start to finish because you're looking for
control, right? By some degree, you control the tobacco. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Pete Johnson doesn't grow tobacco.
Sure, I understand.
But no one is closer to the Garcia family than Pete Johnson. Right. So
he's basically
he's got, in his own way, in his own way, he controls tobacco. He controls his cigars. Nothing gets. I'm sure that I know that he's created projects that didn't turn out the way he liked, that weren't perfect, and he doesn't release them.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
Pete. You need to call us about that.
No, well, I don't know anything about that. Yeah. I'm really proud of selling Tatuaje.
Right.
That's the flagship of my family. treat it as if it were my cigars. I don't place them in places that I don't think they're going to treat the product right. I don't oversell anyone. I make sure that everyone gets it with what they think would work for their market. But I'd be hard pressed to find anybody who makes better cigars. I think Pepin Garcia is, dude, he's a master.
I think
he's a master. He is the best. It speaks for him. Dude, he is the best manufacturer to leave, the most talented roller to ever leave Cuba, the last one to leave Cuba, let's say. And well, today, so this guy calls me and he tells me, I want you to meet with this guy. I'd like you to carry the line. I'm saying, dude, I'll meet with the guy, but I'm not going to. He said, I need you to carry the line. So he introduces me to Justo Iroa. And if you don't know the last name Iroa,
so man, this is CLE, right?
Yeah. Well, this is his father. I met with his brother.
This is Christian's father. Okay. And we just had an OG Osak, one shot, one kill,
right,
from Christian Iroa. I think around the time when he first started CLE, he had this cigar, and they ended up, because of the artwork that the guy who was designing it used, they got a lawsuit, and they ended up sitting on him. So we got this 4-year-old beautiful cigar, like a Honduran Puro, like beautiful. Yeah, it was really nice. Yeah.
Honduran Puro, really?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm almost 100% positive. And as I said that, I said, man, I should have double checked that. But I'm almost positive it's a Honduran Puro.
Okay, could be. Yeah. Could be.
Now, I think Matt Booth rolled the first OG Osak, and this is the second. And OG Osak was created by a guy, and I forgot his name when I was on Cigar Obsession. I'll put it in the video now that I'm editing it. He's a street photographer, a Mexican street photographer of like tattoo art. Andre? No, not Andre.
No, it'll come to me.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll come.
Yeah, we'll move on. Okay. So these are those people, and this is the same farm at a Camacho,
right.
At a Room 101, original Davidoff Room 101.
Dude. I am so proud to carry this brand. I'm so
This
excited.
is how I met you.
Yes, right.
This is how I met you. I called there.
You called them and they gave me your information.
They were like, "What do you want?"
Right.
We're
And they sent it to me because they know that I'm not going to place the product in the wrong place. I'm not going to sell it to someone who's going to discount it, or sell it to someone who's going to sell it less expensive than a store can, or which adds value. I want to keep the value. I don't want to sell an extra 50 boxes. That doesn't matter to me. Sure. I want to make sure that the product is sold correctly, it's treated correctly, of course, especially when it's something as special as this. So let me explain to you real quick. Corojo 98, Corojo 99, Corojo 2000. That is an original seed from Cuba, but it's been hybridized. In the 90s in Cuba, there was a outbreak of mold that killed all their crops. This is history. This
is why you're here.
So they created these hybrids, which are much taller. They grow much taller, and they're more resistant to mold, to blue mold and black shank. See? And so this JRE, the JRE tobacco farm, grows the authentic seed from Cuba from 1960.
Okay.
So this is the authentic, original Corojo, unchanged, obviously grown in Honduras. Throughout the years, they use the same seeds, and this is what it is.
But Honduras was one of those places that I think in the beginning, when they had to leave Cuba, it was one of those places that was earmarked as this soil similar to Cuban. These growing conditions are similar. But then something happened and things went to the Dominican Republic, and Jamaica and a couple other places. And then I feel like Honduras has always been there, but over the last few years, it's really gotten some shine from the
Raw family. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And well, let me show you this display. This is a display box. So this,
you're leaving this with me, right?
Oh, for sure. So this display box,
suitcase.
This is how cigar sales, from what I understand, how they sold cigars in Cuba. This is how they displayed it. These are the 7 traditional sizes. Okay, you've got a Robusto, you've got a Rothschild. Ooh. Look at that! Isn't that beautiful?
Oh my gosh!
You got a Corona.
Make sure you tilt it down so they can see it at home. So
Churchill.
So I noticed.
Cazador.
Okay, so right off the bat, you already stepped my game up because I see a 7x38 being called an Elegante, which I've seen before.
Right.
But we call that a Lancero. Okay. Then I see a Cazador as 46x6, which we call a Corona Gorda.
Right.
Which is such a popular. Both sizes with the club are.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you sharing?
Of course. Why don't we enjoy a Robusto?
Okay.
Yeah, let's enjoy a Robusto.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
I know you want the Lancero. I know you want the Lancero. Yeah.
You know what? The Robusto is actually one of my favorite sizes, and you wouldn't necessarily know it from the club, but it's some of my best smoking experiences have been with a Robusto, and the Robusto does leave you wanting more. And if you know me, I drink when I smoke, and so sometimes when I smoke a Robusto, I may end up smoking a second cigar because I had such a good experience. I want to keep the moment going, and that's when I regret later because I drank too much or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think the Robusto is pretty much a perfect size. Robusto, Corona Gorda. We love the Lancero. It's different.
Of course.
Yeah.
And with this, I'm going to send you some Lanceros. This wrapper, you'll be able to really taste it in the Lancero, but it really comes through in this Robusto. Not only that, this is a single plant blend. All this tobacco is Corojo, wrapper, binder, filler.
So this is a Honduran Puro.
Honduran Puro, all Corojo.
All Corojo. Same plant.
Dude. This also.
So this is how it would have been done. Let's talk about tradition. This is how it would have been done if you were an Indian rolling cigars. You would have one crop, and you would roll your cigars from that crop. You didn't have a ship to bring you other things from other islands. Wow.
And I'm going to use my Lotus Duke V cutter. It's not the deep V. I prefer. Hey, listen,
I don't like a deep V.
I prefer a shallow, narrow V.
Said, right? All right, that's what I said. That's not what she. Well, maybe she did say that.
That's what for sure. I prefer a narrow, shallow.
I like a shallower version.
And here we go.
So this is the cigar that I called you about. I called up. I got a lady on the phone. I said,
"Oh, this is great. We're out of fuel."
I dropped names. Oh, I got something for you.
Great.
I dropped names on her, and it was a bad business partner of hers from like a long time ago. She was like, "Don't ever mention that name again." I'm not going to say who it was.
I don't want to hear it.
And I said, "All right. Well, what can we do to do business together?" She was like, "I'll have someone call you." And to me, you know, usually that means no one's ever going to call. And 2 minutes later, you called and you were like, "Hey, man, what's up?" And then you told me about some other things that you were doing, but this was the reason, and this will be in the club at some point. But
it has a nice nuttiness. It is medium body, medium full. Some would say it's got a hint of spice. Man, it's so good. Nice and clean on the palate, easy to smoke. This is a cigar that someone who doesn't have a lot of experience smoking can enjoy, as well as someone who's used to more full body smoke can enjoy. For them, it would be more of a morning cigar. I could smoke this morning, noon, and night. I love this smoke.
It's a versatile stick.
Yeah.
I got that sweet. I got just a tinge of pepper in the retrohale, but it's giving me that Honduran, almost graham crackery, nutty.
Yes.
Yeah,
graham crackery. That's a good one.
It's nice. It's a great size. I'm glad you chose the size.
So the Ybor family. Let me tell you a little about Julio Ybor. He's truly.
So this is Christian's dad.
This is Christian's father. This is a guy a lot of people don't know about. This is the first farm outside of Cuba. The first farm.
This is
1962.
Okay.
Is the first farm outside of Cuba. This gentleman is a Korean War vet. Yeah. For the United States, yes, U.S. Army. He was going to be he was going to go back to Cuba to fight in the Bay of Pigs. But,
wow.
You know, due to what happened, he didn't go.
Okay.
He was a pilot, and in 1978 lost the use of his legs, and he's created all of this out of a wheelchair. He's 81 years old, and he's still at the farm, and he's in charge of production.
This is Julio.
This is Julio.
This is Christian's.
This guy's a badass.
So, but he's been mentoring Christian.
Absolutely,
they speak.
Absolutely.
They're
of course,
okay.
They're a happy family.
Wow.
Happy family. Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, they're a happy family. I think Christian's very cool. I've met him a couple times. Obviously I don't work with him.
Yeah.
Justo's who I work with, and Justo's the man. Just a great guy to work with.
Justo.
Yeah,
Justo. Cool. Yeah, no, you're the perfect guest for this show. This is exactly what we want to hear.
I appreciate that.
You're the only Cuban guy I know with a Jewish chauffeur.
So when I smoke the cigar, I meet with this guy Justo. I go back to the store. I sit down with Justo, and he hands me the cigar, and I light up, and I went, "Oh my
Where
God,
did you meet
what
him?
is this?" We met on Bird Road in Miami, in their office. Went to see him. We introduced him. Super nice guy. What a nice guy. And we just sat down and we started talking. He told me about his dad. Cheers. Here's to the Euros.
Cheers to them.
Thank you for the cigars.
Oh, thank you for sharing. So you meet with him, and he's telling you about his dad.
He's telling me about his dad. Funny thing is that this industry, I have a little bit of experience, so I already knew a lot. I didn't know that I was meeting with this guy. That's what it was. And when I started smoking the cigar, I remember the last Camacho I had was a triple Maduro that put me on my ass.
The triple Maduro, I wouldn't say that's a good representation of what a Camacho is.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, that was like their, you guys want bold? Everyone was talking all that bold stuff. That was their campaign. Right. So he gave us something bold.
I prefer the original. I'm in love with the cigar. I'm in love with the cigar.
This is really good.
Then they have the Corojo Reserve. So,
is that the one I called you about?
Maybe. Yes, it was. Yes.
And I just want to add to that's one of the things that a lot of the cigar companies don't like about the club is that, like, I get right to I want that one, and they're like, no, you can't take that.
You can't get that.
You're right. You got to get this first, and I'm like, no, but we're about rare cigars, so it's always a give and take.
Well, with this company, his wife is the keeper.
I think that's who I spoke.
She's the keeper. Yeah, that's who you spoke to.
Okay.
She's the keeper, and when I open an account, and it's not that you have 9 faces. You gotta have 9 faces. You gotta have a little bit of everything. You gotta support us. You're not just gonna get our crown jewel. You can only get 2 boxes a month as a store. Obviously, if you're Corona, you have 4 stores. They can get more, and they can do pretty much whatever they want. So, if you want them, they have them there. And it is the wrapper on this cigar is 6 to 8 years old.
Really?
So when someone tells me, I'll be honest with you, I'm a hard guy to bullshit.
You've seen it all.
Dude, you're not going to bullshit me. You're not going to tell me. If you tell me that your wrapper 6 to 8 years, I'm thinking, dude, what was wrong with it? Why'd you wait 6 to 8 years? What was wrong with it?
There you go.
And so the reason that it aged for 6 to 8 years is that Julio had a non-compete from Davidoff for 8 years. And the wrapper on that cigar is the Corona leaf.
Which cigar is this?
This is the Aladino Corojo Reserve. Okay. It only comes in one size. It's a Robusto. And the wrapper on that cigar
is a dark wrapper, right?
It's not much darker than this. A little darker, but it's stronger. Strong. But it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. You're smoking it and you're thinking it's smooth. On the retro, you taste the body. You taste the strength.
Yeah.
Okay, so where they're using the 4 leaves from the bottom half.
Okay.
It's the same plant for the reserve, and they're using the top half.
Okay.
And so the wrapper are the 2 top leaves.
Those are the Corona?
Which are the Corona, which is also Ligero. And so imagine how difficult it is to grow Ligero, for it to be the top plant, the top leaves, and for it not to have blemishes. It has some blemishes, but for it to be perfect, to use this wrapper. Dude, it's a world apart from this. That's a beast. It is a beast.
There's a question that I wanted to ask you that one of the members are like not like my kids, but like how a parent would say, I don't favor anyone. They're my brothers. I don't favor anyone. But there's a special member I have, works for the government. Don't want to say his name. JC, you know who you are. He had an experience with a cigar that I sent him in a separate box. It wasn't one that was in the club. And I'm willing to bet, because of what cigar it was, that it was probably newer tobacco. It probably wasn't aged tobacco. He's smoking the cigar and he's really enjoying it. As he approaches the third, it starts leaking. Have you ever seen this?
No.
He looked it up online, and he did read that there was some sort of like seepage. It's when the juices that are created.
Might have had a lot of humidity.
I don't know. But I'll be asking this question.
No, well, I mean, you know what?
I'm curious. I've never seen.
You know, I've smoked a cigar. When he says the third, you know, how big was a cigar?
It was about a Robusto size.
And then when you get down here, yeah, definitely, I've smoked some cigars that leave. You know, and
of course, we've all had some tar or, you know, on the lip. But this, no, he said this was like leaking.
It may have been a cooked wrapper.
What does that mean?
Cooked means, okay, some Maduros.
It was a Maduro.
Yeah, you know, some Maduros are they're the way that they steam the leaf to get that dark color.
Okay, so stop right there. Tell us about steaming. Tell us.
Okay, well, all right.
Okay,
that's beyond my pay grade. I don't make cigars. I smoke them.
But
love
you
them
know what does steaming a leaf mean?
When you see a leaf that's really, really dark, more than likely they steamed it to give it that color. Everyone thinks. Notice, I'm going to use this as I'm going to use Padron as a benchmark. If you see Padron on the shelf, lots of times you'll see the natural will be darker than the Maduro.
I have noticed that.
Yeah.
Well, I bought two from Famous Cigars. They made their own Padron, which was a bigger box ring gauge than normal. It was a Robusto size, but it was a bigger ring gauge. And it was actually really, really good. And towards the end of the boxes, I needed space. I was running out of space, so I took them out of the boxes and I put them in bags. And when I went back later in life to smoke these, I couldn't tell which was which.
Right. What people think that Maduro means, it means ripe in Spanish, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's darker. Maduro is more a texture than it is a color. So
dropping gems, yes.
It's more of a texture.
It's more of a texture than it. So this is a rougher because it's going to be up top, right?
It's going to be more toothy.
Is it up top? It's sun grown.
It's sun grown.
It's not
it's got a lot of sun. It's going to be toothier. It's going to be veinier.
You know what I always think about it as? I always think about it like when you I don't know. I'm from up north originally, so like when I first came down to Florida, and I went to this like pool bar, and there's this beautiful older woman in a bikini, but she's been out in the sun. What you could see, like, you know, it's sun drenched.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sun drenched. Right.
It's
I like the way you put it. I like that. And like cigars, it's about what you like. You know, if you like something, dude, you like that. If you buy a cigar that didn't smoke right, you also got to think they're handmade. You know, buy another one somewhere else. You know, they're handmade. I'm surprised that two cigars taste the same in a box, much less cigar after cigar after cigar. The way it works, these guys go to the farm. I mean, so when the roller goes to the place where they give them the tobacco, they go like this, boom. And he's supposed to make 100 sticks. If he makes 95, they're wrong. If he makes 105, they're wrong. You know, they weigh them and they draw test them. At least in a good factory.
Sure.
In a factory where they know what they're doing.
And so this is why, like, I talked to Brian Glynn about this on Cigar Obsession, because one of the reasons at first he didn't want to unbox their stuff is because someone on a message board said that they got a Cuban cigar in our box, which I don't do. In the beginning, it was a little more intimate. It wasn't as professional, you know, that kind of thing. I'm not saying that ever actually happened, but whatever. But the construction on a Cuban cigar, because they're not draw testing those.
No.
They're a communist country. They're getting their national import out the door. They're not even aging them.
Who knows what they're doing? Dude, I know so little about Cuban cigars. I've smoked very few of them. The ones that I've smoked have been hit or miss, you know. I probably haven't smoked more than 200 cigars, maybe 300 cigars in my life, Cuban cigars.
Joel told me on Hand Rolled, his big quote is, the best cigar I ever smoked was a Cuban. The worst cigar I ever smoked was a Cuban.
You know what? I would say that I smoked a Robina limited edition that was like 10 years old. That was given to me by a guy who hung out at Prime. His name escapes me right now. I'm so sorry.
In Boca?
Yeah, in Boca.
I used to go there. Yeah, I used to live down there for a little bit.
This guy gave me a cigar, and I thought it was bad shit amazing. It was amazing. And he gave my girl one too. I made sure she asked him for one. So he went ahead, she asked him, and he gave her one. That one was different.
He smoked it and it was different.
That one was different.
Absolutely. You know? Let me ask you this.
How did that turn that way?
I know you're selling for companies, but we try to be as unbiased as possible. What's the best cigar? Okay, so here's how I'm going to phrase it, because you sell for certain companies. You can't answer with one of the companies you sell for. What was the best cigar you smoked that you don't sell in the last 2 years?
I smoked a I think it's a Bellas Arte by AJ that was fantastic. I think it's a Bellas Arte. Was that Pepin? Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's a Bellas Arte that AJ makes. It was fantastic.
How are you spelling that?
Bellas, like beautiful art.
Okay.
Bellas Arte. Also, there was one by Ashton, given to me by Jose Ortega. That was phenomenal.
So
I forget the name.
Who's Jose Ortega?
Jose's a rep for Ashton in Florida.
He's a rep.
Yeah, he's a rep for Ashton.
Who? So Ashton is not JC Newman, right?
No.
Who
Ashton
are they?
Ashton.
Because they use Fuente as well.
Right. He used Fuente and they used my father.
I don't know that anyone's got better construction than Fuente.
I don't know, man. My father's. I don't know.
My
I don't smoke a lot.
Listen,
I smoked an amazing Casa Cuba given to me by Cynthia Fuente. A lot of it is the experience. The best league I've ever smoked was at the Cigar Safari. After eating their tacos, drinking their scotch, I'm looking over they have a cliff by the pool.
Right.
I'm staring into the moonlight. What a romantic moment by myself. And that was the best Liga 9 I'd ever had,
okay, So that, for me, you just summed up what cigar smoking is all about. It is, for me, it's an alone moment. It's great to go out and get the camaraderie of a store. You cannot get that anywhere else. Right. That's awesome, and you can meet people through it. It's a brotherhood. But that's what the club is about too. It's about, you get this box, I picked them for you, which is kind of cool. You gotta admit, because it's like, you picked this for me. You saw me eyeing the Lancero. You saw me eyeing the Corona.
And those are great, but I gotta tell you, the Robusto is fantastic.
And that's what I'm doing for the members.
Right.
I'm giving them something that they would probably overlook, or would look at and go, nah, I'm not gonna get that for whatever reason. And then I write about it. And if it's in the club, I love it. So I'm romantic in my writing. I was a singer-songwriter. I was a writer. I come from a family of writers.
That's cool.
So, yeah. And then I pair it and all that stuff, too. So it's about the experience. That's what it is. When I go to a cigar shop, first of all, I feel bad for anyone that doesn't have... Who's the guy who owns Corona?
Jeff Borshowitz.
Jeff Borshowitz.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel bad for anyone that doesn't have Jeff Borshowitz living near them.
Yes.
Because this is what cigar, a mega place. It's like a cigar nightclub.
Yes.
Right? All of his places. I've been to all of that. The Davidoff store.
No, and just the way everything is
there.
done. Yeah, and the way he trains the staff, and the way.
His guys know way more than me. They blow me out of the water every time I go there.
And the selection of spirits is ridiculous. He bottles his own barrels of bourbon. I learned to drink bourbon barrel straight.
How about he grows his own tobacco?
He grows his own tobacco.
And Davidoff is using it.
He is such a...
The guy's on fire.
Yeah, he truly is a hardworking, a great dude. Again, a loyal guy. That's what this industry is about, man. He's a really hard worker. He's done a lot for us in terms of, talking to politicians and about, the FDA, and he's really informed. He's done a lot for us,
Yeah, so he's got Corona in downtown, which is near me. That's where I live.
Right.
And then he's got one
in Sand Lake.
Sand Lake is the awesome one, and that's where what's his name? Before he died, he used to hang out there.
Yeah, Avo.
Avo. He's Armenian.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah,
he was a cool dude.
People don't know this, but Avo wrote "Strangers in the Night."
Really? I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Avo's an Armenian composer who, to get out of communism, would play at all these SARS and these King Cast, the in the United Arab Emirates before it was so today where it's open and people travel there and stuff and he wrote "Strangers in the Night" for Frank Sinatra.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
And that's where he made all his money from. That's why everything's about music. He's a composer.
Right? No, absolutely.
Yeah,
I've heard of some places where he shows up and he's playing the piano. Used to anyway.
I heard until he died, he would hang out on Sand Lake.
Yeah. And he was very clear.
Did you ever meet him?
Absolutely.
You did?
On a number of occasions.
What was he like?
He's just a gentleman. The nicest guy you would ever meet. He engaged you. He sat down with you and spoke to you. When you spoke to him, he listened to you. He commented on the things that you said. Which, dude, I'm rarely starstruck in this industry, and then you meet a guy like that, and you go, "Wow!" I was starstruck.
And you didn't even know he wrote "Strangers."
No, I had no idea. I had no idea.
Fucking classic.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was an amazing man. He was an amazing man.
Shout out to all the Armenians out there. We have a couple in the.
They're a big part of the industry, man. A lot of Armenians in the industry. This is nice. All right, so check it out. I'm going to give you the cigars from my portfolio that I think you should smoke. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to start off with one of my favorites to sell and to smoke. It's a little bit too. The ring gage's a little too big for me, but I'm a big fan of the Kohonu 2003 by Tatuaje. Just so that you know, that cigar is made in Miami. There's one guy that makes that cigar all day, every day. It's a 54.
No one else
down,
rolls it.
bro. Hands down.
No one else rolls that
Nobody
cigar.
else rolls that cigar. All right. And there's also, if you like a 60, the Grand Kohonu.
Okay. I've seen that.
Right, from Tatuaje. My favorite from Tatuaje, for me, we don't make anymore, because your favorite doesn't necessarily mean turns into sales,
Sure.
was La Riqueza. La Riqueza,
What is that?
it means the riches. And La Riqueza came out probably in 2009, if I'm not mistaken. And we kind of put it on hiatus because it just, there was in a lot of stores. People move on to new things, and it just wasn't moving, it wasn't turning. So, why continue making a cigar? I'm sure Pete will bring it back, It's a registered brand, so I'm sure he'll bring it back. Another one that I'm a big fan of from Pete is El Triunfador Lancero. The El Triunfador Lancero is fantastic, and the Guapo Maduro is fantastic. Right now, the black label, any of the sizes, my favorite is the Corona Gorda.
Corona Gorda, yeah, it's his reserve, Pete's reserve, yeah.
So that cigar was a cigar that was included.
We had that in the club once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had less members then, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm wondering, right?
2,000 people with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a cigar that was given. They gave you a 3-pack.
What do you call that cap? It's not a pigtail. It's like a little nice
like a
little
nipple.
It's like a
Like a
nipple.
nipple.
It is
Yeah.
a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That's my favorite cat.
It's like
an
a
art.
nipple. I don't know how
it's
they
an
do it,
art.
right.
I don't know how they do that either. It's an art.
Yeah, it's cool.
One of the best flavors in the game, the black.
Yes.
What is it? Who knows?
I think it's a criollo wrapper. It is a criollo wrapper.
Okay.
But I don't know what they do to it.
Now Pete told me he got that from being in Cuba. I know we were hammered, so I don't. But I was studying everything that he said, and I could have swore he told me he was in Cuba with Pepin. But how could Pepin go back to Cuba?
I think you can. I don't know. Yeah, you can.
Okay, because basically what he told me was, this is a story that he told me. I'm gonna have to get Pete's either gonna hate me or love me for this, but I'm just dropping all the shit that he gave me. He told me he's in Cuba. There's this old man on a bike. I guess they knew that he was in town looking at cigar blends and stuff, or that he was into cigars. And there's an old man on the bike that was supposedly rolling his own. They were unmolded, the whole deal, which I love the idea of that. And this old man kept giving him these, and Pepin was going, so what did you like from the trip? And he said, this guy keeps giving, who keeps giving it? This fucking old bum on a bike keeps giving him these unmolded, he's like rolling his own, almost like a guy over here would roll a cigarette. And he said, well, get me a couple, and he got him a couple, and that's how they made that blend.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Hey, listen, I don't doubt it. Pete's a very open guy. Pete's a very open guy. He shares. In fact, there are a lot of people that he just shared with, and then they go ahead and open a cigar company, and they start using his, using the ideas that he's shared with them.
That's why he's protective.
Yeah, he's very protective. And what are you gonna do? So right now, I also recommend the Aladino. Aladino's fantastic.
I recommend this.
Yes.
This might be in the club.
Yeah, you gotta find. Soon. You gotta sort it out.
I might bleep out every part of the Aladino and then put it in the club, and then
fantastic.
Because I like it to be a surprise what's in the box, but this is amazing.
Find the Corojo Reserve.
This is a cigar that my father doesn't like cigars, right? But if he did like cigars, this would be a cigar that I would sit here with my father and have this with. Because this is a classy,
I love that cigar, dude. It's
flavorful, not over the top either way. It's right down the middle, and it's perfect.
I like the way you toast. I like that. That's cool. The more toast, the more we drink. You got a little scotch?
Yeah.
Hey now.
Oh, hold on. Stay right here. Cognac is not single malt. It's not single barrel.
No, right. Neither is rum.
Right.
Most rums are not.
Yeah, no, they're blending them to taste consistently. And even cigars, I've never been partial to All right, we're back. This part of the segment is scheduled or sponsored by Johnny
Blue.
Walker.
And so listen, all you guys that say
He asked for scotch.
Yeah, all you guys that say that, oh, Johnny Blue, there's stuff that's so much better. Let me tell you something about scotch. So the youngest scotch that they use in that is 25. I'm the kind of guy that doesn't think you don't have to spend more than $12, 14, $15. Remember, sometimes what you're paying for is leaf selection. So a guy will buy bales of tobacco and they sort it. And so imagine if you're buying these bales and you only use half for these cigars. So now that other tobacco you'll use for something else, maybe you'll come out with a more value price brand. You'll come up with something else that you can use it for. But that's what Steve Saka does. I'm sure Pete does that too. I'm sure the Iroas do that.
Everyone.
Right, but the Iroas are growing tobacco, and Steve is buying tobacco.
Do they also sell tobacco to people?
Yes, they do.
Now, so there's two Oliva families, right?
Yes.
There's one that actually, they don't roll cigars. They just sell the tobacco.
Those are the Tampa Olivas.
Those are the Tampa Olivas.
Right. And then you have the Miami Olivas.
I'm about to go hang out with them.
Those guys are cool.
Yeah,
Those guys. You know what? For me, the first time I met them, I was with Ernie Carrillo.
Growers.
Yeah, they're growers. I was with Ernie Carrillo, and we were up there. I guess he went up there to do a tobacco deal. What do I know? I'm sitting in the lobby. They finally bring me in after they do all their talking, and you hear these guys speaking English. I'm talking to these guys in English, and they're speaking with zero accent, almost like a Southern accent. And then all of a sudden they break into Spanish and they speak Spanish just
all
like we do in Miami. Probably,
right.
But they're great dudes. They're great dudes. They grow great.
Tampa guy jumps out of a pickup truck with a suit on.
Pete Johnson uses
Cigar City. Okay, so this is why I'm mentioning it. I'm not to cut you off, but this is why I'm mentioning it because they grow a leaf called Sanctus Spiritus.
Sancti Spiritu.
Okay,
that's a hybrid.
Some bad shit right there, boy.
Yeah,
he put that on the Jekyll, I think, and that's my favorite Halloween cigar.
Let me tell you, the best places to smoke a cigar in Florida, definitely.
So hold on. I'm going to break it down.
Wow,
you're going to break it down, but I'm going to give you. Okay,
I don't want to leave anybody
Naples, out. On the west side, down south, in Naples area.
In Naples area,
are you smoking?
You want to go to world famous cigar bar.
Okay, now
that's actually Fort Myers.
Now. Oh, it is Fort Myers.
Actually,
I was going to say I'm in Sarasota.
Because if you're in Naples, you want to go to Ventino's. Ventino's has got a really nice place. There's so many nice places to smoke a cigar, and for different reasons. I like smoke on the water because you can get a drink for $7, and I'm not cheap, but who doesn't like a $7 drink? Right. So if you're in Tampa, dude, there's no place like Davidoff.
Come on.
Just right.
It's owned by the guys of cigars.
It's owned by the guys from Corona. They have the malt of the month, and they have this crazy.
I got this cigar from that store called an Avo 22, European release. It had no band on it. It was a Perfecto, but it wasn't like a super Perfecto where the end is like. It was like more like, what do you call that? It's a Perfecto, but like the old the three crows used to sit on the.
It's a Perfecto.
It's a Perfecto, but it's not a Figurado.
Well, they're all Figurados.
Okay. It's a Perfecto.
Everything that's not a standard shape is a Figurado.
Okay.
So
and the rest is a Parejo?
Parejo, yeah, Parejo.
Okay.
Right. And by the way, you might say, I didn't realize there were Parejos until you told me right now. Parejo means even in Spanish, so it's going to be, that's what that means, obviously.
So, it's Avo 22. It was about $22.
You know why he had that, right?
No.
Because Avo is one of Jeff's son's godfathers.
Wow.
Yeah.
This guy Jeff's the man, huh?
Yeah, Jeff's the man.
Borshowitz, you said?
Borshowitz.
I'm going to look him up. I'm going to show up at his office.
Yeah, no, he's the best. You can't show up. You just can't show up. Yeah, I'm just telling you right now.
I'm trying to get
an appointment for tomorrow, and I don't know if I have one or not. I may have scared him off.
Show up.
You can't.
Okay.
I can. You can't.
Bagels and
Nobody even knows how to get there. No, he's Polak. He's Polish, actually.
Borshowitz?
Borshowitz, of Polish descent. He's the greatest guy ever.
My wife makes a good borscht. You can bring him borscht.
He's a little skittish. You can't just show up.
Okay.
So I can't just show up.
He's like the Leor Cohen,
dude.
of cigars.
Listen, I think one of the things he appreciates the most is that I don't introduce him to anybody he doesn't want to be introduced to. So everyone I work with wants to meet with Jeff. I meet with Jeff. And I think he appreciates the fact that I'm not shoving people down his throat. I wanted him to meet. I wanted to give him 15 minutes with Alan. Listen, tomorrow we'll go to the warehouse. We'll talk to Joe. Whatever.
Take a puff of that cigar and just give me anything you got. What do you taste it? Because this is a hard cigar to say.
It's very complex.
I'm picking up this and this, and it's. I can tell you that it's very. It's sort of creamy in a way, but it's also oily. Which I like.
It's very earthy. I can't give you.
Then it's got highs. It's got treble to it too, which is like this.
Look at that. Something very few people are able to use sound to describe
the music.
Well, I'm not in music, but all right. So for me, a cigar that is spicy, that tastes like a treble, hi-hats,
right?
And when a cigar is rich and dark,
bass,
yeah.
And the one that we had was more mid. It was mid,
right?
Midi.
So I'm going to tell you, there's a cigar that I used to sell. I'm not going to tell you the name. And when he called the manufacturer, the guy who owned the brand called the manufacturer, says, "I want you to." So this is a great question. If you can answer this, you win something. How about that? So the manufacturer called, the guy who owns the brand called the manufacturer and he said to him, "I want you to make me a cigar that tastes the way this sounds." And he played the first 6 seconds of When the Levee Breaks.
I know who this is already.
Right. Oh, okay. You know who it is.
Of course I do.
Right, all right.
Mr. Cool guy up there.
Not everybody knows that story.
Mr. Cool guy up there in the middle there, yeah.
Not everybody knows. By the way, I don't think that cigar tastes. It's one of my favorite blends that they make, but I don't think it tastes.
I never got that.
Never got that. Me either.
I never got that everything had to be like a song. But he's one of the coolest dudes in the biz.
Absolutely. He's a super cool dude. Super cool dude. And I'm at I think you need to catch up.
I do need to catch up. I'll be sick tomorrow,
Good
but
time.
I need
No, come on. I'm at your house. This has been a good time, man.
Nice glasses.
Yeah, very nice glasses. Very nice glasses.
You get all the flavors.
See, I'll drink out of a styrofoam cup, evidently.
I won't.
I typically don't either. But, whatever.
I'll drink out of the bottle before I do that. Glass only.
I've been known to do that too. Good times, man. Good times. So let me bring that bag of cigars that I talked about.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're going with this, but this is really. By the way, the fact that we're still doing this, I'm, right here. We're feeling good. I don't want to go anywhere. We need to do this. We're gonna have to come back here, and I'm gonna finish the night here, and we'll just do this shit for hours.
Every quarter, you need to be here.
No, I'll be back. I'm here once a month.
No,
once every 6 weeks.
Yeah, oh, fine.
Yeah,
and
you need to
by
come
the way,
down.
we got our guest bedroom. You stay here.
Oh, dude,
You
gotta come down to Miami.
I will.
Yeah, I'll take you to my father's cigars where they make Tatuaje.
I'd love to.
Yeah, dude. And if you want to go to Honduras, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's $500. You got it. If you buy our cigars,
sit there,
check it out. No, it's 3 days.
Just leaving.
No, dude, it's 3 days. It's Sunday to Wednesday, and you're gonna go to the first farm factory outside of Cuba. You're gonna go to the most advanced farm in the industry, and it's the only farm grandfathered in. The only farm Bayer approved. Dude, what this guy does, what Julio Iroa does, so this tobacco is the most susceptible. It easily catches mold. So what does he do to avoid that? He surrounds the farm with eucalyptus, which is a natural repellent. Instead of using fertilizer to kill bugs or insecticides, he grazes sheep. He releases the sheep onto the fields, and the sheep eat the weeds and don't eat the tobacco. Dude, this guy is
Unbelievable.
This guy is ridiculous about what he does. Everybody that walks in has to be decontaminated. So you walk into a tunnel and you get decontaminated.
Really?
Yes. Any vehicles that come in, dude, at the end of this month, I'm probably not going to go with you. If you go, maybe I won't go.
No. I'll go when you go.
Next year.
Okay, fine.
next year. Yeah.
We got plenty of time. We just got settled.
And this property was owned by the Halliburtons before it was owned. I think it was a mining operation.
Halliburton, like the oil?
Yeah.
What were they doing there?
I don't know, oil. Who knows what they were doing? Fucking some Illuminati
people.
shit.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Raping and killing.
Who knows, bro? Yeah, fucking goats. Who knows what they were doing? Whatever.
All right.
And so this property is on a hilltop, the highest point in the valley, surrounded by a mountain range. Dude, it is a ridiculous. The old man raises tilapia. He raises quails. He has horses. Doesn't raise the horses. He has them. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's the first farm outside of Cuba. Before anybody else. This guy...
Did he ever tell you about like how he left and how they got out?
He has. I've heard a million stories. Remember, I'm in Miami.
Yeah.
I don't remember his story exactly.
But like, how did they left on a boat?
No, dude, they left on a plane.
On a plane?
They all
in the 50s. With
1960, they all owned business. And...
But 54 was the embargo.
No. Embargo. No, 64 was the embargo.
64?
64, yeah.
That was Kennedy.
Yeah. And so what happened was all these guys, so the government, when Fidel Castro took over, all of these Cuban families donated their shit to Fidel Castro. There was a sign on their door that said, it's ours and you got to go. So they all got into a plane and they moved either to Miami or different parts of the country, or different parts of the world, mainly Miami. That's where everything. All right, so Tampa is so special because at the turn of the century,
Tampa was the first place Cubans went.
Right.
It wasn't Miami. They came in through Miami, but then they went to Tampa and rolled cigars.
All right. So the first place
is that true or is that crazy?
Yes, no, it's absolutely. The first place they started rolling cigars was in the Keys. Keys was the first place where rolling cigars.
What?
They were importing tobacco from Cuba.
Okay, so hold on.
Jose Marti.
Okay, let's start. You got to give us that education, please.
All right,
while you're here.
I can't. I'm gonna have to.
That's fine.
I'm gonna give you
Give us what you got.
Yeah. So they were making cigars in the Keys. And then,
so hold on. So around the Bay of Pigs time.
No. This is like 1908, whatever. This is in the early 1900s.
Early 1900s. What happens? Cubans come to America?
Jose Marti.
Who's that?
Jose Marti is like a Cuban patriot who was also a poet. And again, I may be wrong. I'm paraphrasing.
Sure his last name wasn't Padilla?
or Perdomo?
Right. They were poets.
So,
okay, so 1908, early 1900s. This guy who?
Jose Marti, who's a Cuban patriot, was bringing tobacco to have cigars made in Key West to sell.
He was bringing Cuban tobacco into the States.
Oh, yeah.
Into Key West. They were boating it over.
Making cigars.
You could fucking, you're not swimming, but...
They were making cigars and using that money to feed the revolution against for the Spanish-American War. The Spanish War.
This is way before
the Cuban Revolution.
The mob got there. Yeah.
Right, and then I think there was a fire in the Keys, and then everybody went to the closest port, which was Tampa. So all the Cubans went to Tampa, and they were importing tobacco into Tampa, and there were like 130 cigar factories in Tampa, and they were all making cigars there. Tampa's got such a beautiful Cuban culture. The tobacco culture.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's badass. And
it's still there and it's about to go away.
Right.
It's about to be torn down and turned into condominiums, but it's still there. And J.C. Newman's capitalizing on that, but really it's not really him. I appreciate the fact that he's trying to keep the culture going.
That's what it's all about. It's not
right, but it's not him or his family
it's not about
the
money.
Fuentes are bigger in Tampa than he is.
Bro, the Fuentes are the king.
Yeah, because I hung out with people in Tampa. I didn't know at the time. I didn't know I was going to be into cigars.
Let me tell you, if you want to buy great Fuente cigars, go to Tampa Sweethearts in Ybor City, and you'll meet Arturo Fuente, who's this guy is what a gentleman, dude.
Wow. Yeah, I remember going to Ybor City and buying a Fuente that they said you can't get this anywhere. This is this guy, and But at the time, I really wasn't that into cigars. I didn't know. I was hanging out at. You ever been to Tampa Humidor? You know Brian?
Of course.
You know Brian?
Of course.
He taught me a lot about cigars too.
Brian's a good dude.
I should give him props too. He told me he
Brian's
was
a great
dating
dude.
one of the Fuentes.
Right. Yes.
He told me,
Yeah.
I used to date one of the girls
Hey.
of the Fuentes.
This guy
Go
doesn't
back on
drink.
camera with this.
Right. Are you all right?
What?
Of course, you're home.
You asking me?
I'm sorry. My
You want
fault.
a motherfucker? You want to disrespect?
Disrespect me in my house,
Are you
motherfucker?
kidding me? I can
Yeah,
drink you till the sun comes
dude,
up.
I'm looking forward to
Listen
hanging
to
out
me.
with you. I travel the world, you know, but I eat at the best places. I smoke and drink for a living. I love life. I love my friends.
This is like a stash. When you were into drugs, this was a stash.
Right.
It's a
with
Boveda.
Boveda in there. Right. The one thing I don't do is I use my samples to give for people to smoke. I don't trade them. I don't sell them.
You're creating fans of the brand. Umbagog.
Umbagog.
A cigar that I've been very interested in, and this is Steve Saka's like daily smoker, right?
This is our value price cigar. This blend is very similar to the Mi Querida blend. The wrapper on this, you'll find it's very toothy. So again, he's so maniacal about his blends. Love that word, maniacal. He's fucking crazy. He's maniacal about his blends, and so he only chooses the grade A leaf. Nobody does that anymore. So you would
Why?
because tobacco, too expensive. Production, and you're gonna slow shit down, and you're gonna sell it second, and it just doesn't make sense anymore. So you do this. You come out with another brand, and you call it what it is. And to buy, you have to have the whole line to be able to get this. It's usually the other way around. Usually, I'll sell you the cheap stuff, but here you have to have the whole line to carry this. At least in my territory.
Sure.
You know. So what you need is you're a little cold, aren't you? You're a little cold. More often than I should, but I'm going to stick with fire. By the way, we can do this. We can do this for the next 2 weeks out of my car.
Let me ask you something.
Let alone
that flavor that you're getting right now.
Raisins is what I got.
You
raisins,
call that raisins.
Let me try it again.
But there's vanilla.
Okay.
I almost call it just an age of tobacco at this point. And some of the Tatuaje has this, and it's this. I don't know how to describe it. It's very hard for me to write down what that actual
smoky. Look how much smoke this gives you.
This is an amazing cigar.
I can't tell you that I would do anything different. I'm such a fan of Pete Johnson. I thank him all the time for letting me be Pete from Tatuaje. I'm Pete from Tatuaje in Florida.
No, I hear you.
And I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of his cigars. I'm so proud of what he does. And those aren't just words, man. I got to tell you, I love everything he makes. I understand his process. He's an artist. He is an artist. There's no question about that. And he's not gonna give his shit away. He's not going to, he's a very trusting guy when it comes to talking to you. He's a very giving guy. He talks to you and he shares with you, and he's a student of this game, and he's such a stickler for his product, to make sure that it's right. Everyone's got to be right. I put all my cigars, I take them out of the box, I put them in Ziplocs, and each Ziploc has a Boveda.
That's all I do.
That's how you do.
That's all I do.
Yeah, it's perfect. If you don't, and in Florida, you have to keep it in a cooler because Florida gets really hot.
Sure.
And obviously, it does get hot in the cooler, but I'm in the car a lot, so the AC is going.
Yeah,
I cool the car off. Yeah, so I always go in there, I refresh. On the weekend, I have a storage unit that I rent.
You live in there?
I rent.
I lived in it now.
There are guys that live there. Air-conditioned storage unit, and that's where I keep my cigars. And so on the weekend, or when I know that I'm going to be in Miami, I carry less cigars with me, and I put them in storage. I have cabinets that I keep them in, and it's a little crazy, It's a little expensive to keep these cigars, but you have to, I get insulted when someone tells me, "Dude, that sample you gave me, it's kind of dry." The fuck out of here. Are you kidding me? Dry. You know what I go through to keep these things fresh? Are you kidding me? Fortunate. In Pompano, there was a place called Filomena's. And if you know Pompano at all, this place was there. They had 10 tables, maybe 12. It had a checkerboard floor, and all the tables said reserved. Dude, there were 12 tables, and they were always.
It's like
and so-
Rayo's in New York.
Dude, yeah, and the owner, so the maitre d' in this place, they served pizza if you wanted a pizza, but that's not what they served. They served Italian food, homemade Italian food, and Cadillac Joe was a maitre d'. And the funny thing is that I ran into my brother there, and little did I know, this was out in the garbage business, and my brother was in the cigar business. And so I ran into my brother there once. What are you doing here? He goes, this is my favorite spot. And I go, dude, this is my favorite spot. You know what's funny? Your palate is something that is hereditary.
Sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
And so he and I had a very similar palate when
the
it
way
came.
you like to eat too. And I'll say
Yes.
this because my wife, we drive a lot and we do road trips a lot. My wife hates eating in the car. And I remember growing up with my father eating in the car all the time. We would stop, we'd pick up pizza, we'd eat it in the car. We wouldn't even eat in the place. You could eat in the place, and we wouldn't. And the other day he came down to visit, and we got Italian ice, and I said, let's eat this in the car. He said, where else are we going to fucking eat? I was like, you got your AC, your radio, the seat's comfortable, no strangers listening to you.
I'm most comfortable in my car. Nicaraguan has a lot of flavor in it. Maybe it's the rich soil. Maybe it's the fact that all the Cubans are there. Maybe it's the fact that the labor is so cheap that everyone has gone there. For whatever reason, Nicaraguan tobacco is very
I'm
popular.
going to argue with you on the last two statements.
I will tell you this.
It's flavor. Cuban is importing.
Okay, I will tell you. That's what they say. That's what they say. I will tell you this. If you look at the imports, there are more still. Dominican cigars have super trumped
Hey,
the
use
amount
this
of
as a platform.
the amount of cigars coming imported from the Dominican Republic is so much more than it is than the ones that are coming from Nicaragua. Right. So they're obviously making great cigars.
Hey, look at
as well.
Caldwell. He's
Caldwell, bro. Listen, one of the most unappreciated guys is Jose Sejas, and if you've never had Matilde is a spectacular cigar.
Izzy told me that too, man. I still haven't had one to this day.
I have. I'll give you some. Spectacular. It's a brand I used to sell. Unfortunately, that doesn't always turn into sales. At the end of the day, cigars have to sell, you know, and.
Do they? That's where my club lives. We don't care what sells.
The Matilde Maduro.
I'm going to call him. You got to set me up.
Yeah, I'll set you up with him.
We need Matilde. Because people look at it, they go, oh, it's a nice band.
Here's another one for you.
What is this?
520. By the way, that's his address in Cuba.
Thank you.
The 520, La Rosa 520, that's Rainier's address in Cuba.
Wow.
Rainier is such a gangster.
He is gangster.
Yeah, he's a gangster. By the way, we'll be doing an event with him March 16th with Izzy at Cigars on the Waterfront.
Where?
Right there, Cigars on the Waterfront, right here in Orlando.
Here?
Yeah, in Orlando on the March 16th.
I got to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing a pig roast, supposedly. We're doing a pig roast. We got to figure out the whole roast part.
I got to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome.
Rainier's going to be there.
Yeah.
Izzy's going to be there.
Absolutely.
These are my legends.
Here's another one of the Casa Vega Magna. I planned we'd smoke all these. Like smoke oh, dude, this is one of my favorite cigars of all time. Casa Magna Domus Magnus. Most unappreciated cigar in the industry. This is, I forget the name of this right now. I've had a few drinks. The Caligula. Perfecto. Fantastic cigar. Fantastic cigar.
That, but it's box press. It's
fantastic
perfecto.
Cigar.
It's a beautiful thing.
They have one called
who makes this?
This is made by Quesada. It's made Quesada makes it at the Plasencia factory, and it is spectacular.
Wait, Quesada makes? I thought Quesada's all Dominican.
Quesada owns the brand Casa Magna, and the cigars
but
are
Plasencia is Nicaragua.
Right. Well, it's like, you know. So the so Crowned Heads owns these brands that Ernie makes and Pepin makes.
Who's Ernie?
Carrillo, La Gloria Cubana.
Yeah,
that's Ernie Carrillo.
And where does he? How does he tie into all this?
Well, no. I digress. I'm trying to explain to you the difference that a manufacturer, a guy who owns a brand, his cigars are made by a manufacturer. So this is the way it works. So one farm can supply 10 manufacturers, and 10 manufacturers can make 100 brands. Anybody who says that Johnny Walker Blue sucks is an idiot.
But let me tell you this. I think for the buck, Johnny Walker Double Black is the best thing that they make.
It's money. All day,
That's
every
my
day.
that
Absolutely.
would
That's
be
my
my
shit.
everyday
That's my
go
shit.
to.
That's
Yeah,
my shit.
and it's not cheap. It's
No,
$40-something a
Right,
bottle.
but it's right.
But
it-
compared to this is a fucking $200 a bottle.
160, like 170 at Costco. Yeah, I'm a value shopper. You know.